Top 3 Ways to Win Any Religious Debate. Hello, and welcome. The ideas presented here are simple reductions of much more complex social phenomena, and as such, they are my personal insights. Therefore, I am not 100% adamant that the claims made here are irrefutable, infallible, or entirely provable. Nevertheless, I consider it extremely important to present and explain them to all those who are just beginning to deal with public debates, and at the same time intend to become better at it over time. With that out of the way, let us begin. Number 1. Constructed necessity of publicly presentable intellectual conflict. A self-evident point. In short, the phenomenon of debate confrontations is, like many other social phenomena, constructed with the goal rational approach of informing the audience about the insights and knowledge of speakers, usually experts in certain fields. Mostly, in such confrontations a publicly presentable side of their conflict is necessarily civilized as much as possible, devoid of emotionally charged states and, finally, intellectual in nature. So, the first step to winning a debate confrontation is to choose the debate circumstances correctly, because if it is a debate in which the loser is punished physically or financially, it may be strongly unacceptable to participate. Also, if the conditions of the debate are peaceful, civilized and, in general, ideal, but the type of debate is uninteresting to the audience, the victory of one or the other side may turn out to be ineffective and unsatisfactory. Here are 2 examples. If 2 theologians discuss different theological conceptions of God, or 2 scientists discuss scientifically verifiable aspects of religious phenomena throughout history, it is possible to deduce that the audience will not be excited about conclusions of such a debate, unless, of course, it is a debate at a gathering of specialists in a specific field, who are very interested by nature. So what is exciting in this type of debate is the proper selection of participants, with clearly contrasting opinions, and, most importantly, skillful verbal abilities. Conclusion: an assessment of the debate type and its participants is necessary. Once that is resolved, further steps towards victory follow. Number 2. Flexible approach. Interestingly, over the years I have noticed that many debates about religion have moments where one side seems to lose and the other wins. At one point it seems to happen, and that's it. But is it really? I conclude that the final result and the persuasiveness of the arguments on one side or the other depends on the flexibility of the approach of a particular speaker. So, what would be a flexible approach? A quick observation of what is truly happening. For starters, if one of the 2 sides exposes a complex phenomenon, it is desirable to notice if the opposite side subtly or directly tries to change the topic or moves unprovoked to another area. This could be called a confusion strategy. For example, if a scientist explains an individual biological phenomenon, he or she should not be confused by the comments of theologians who suddenly begin to touch on mathematics, philosophical hypotheses about extracosmic phenomena, and psychological sketching about the current debating opponent. Also, if a theologian or religious expert explains a particular religious phenomenon, the scientist should not abuse his or her verbalistic abilities by starting to comment on several areas that the other party did not talk about at all. In short, if we are talking about the cosmic aspect of the religious conception of God, we are talking precisely about it. If we focus on the psychological side, we talk about it, and we don't jump from one topic to another. Or if we are talking about mathematics, we are not mixing poetry into it. If abuse occurs on either side, the ultimate success of the other party then depends on noticing such a debatable abuse, and it is advisable to warn the interlocutor and return both to the original topic. Otherwise, it can easily happen that one side is confused and still tries to talk about the specific phenomenon of its expertise, and the other side is seemingly victorious, because it has successfully combined statements in several different areas, while inserting psychological effects that seem uplifting for spectators in the audience. Such debates, in which one of the 2 sides loses for unjust reasons, I consider invalid and a kind of media circus. in which ultimately isn't as important to draw intriguing conclusions based on complex perspectives as is to reach an excited state of impression in audience in favor of one or the other. A flexible debating approach can also provide minimization. In the event of an overwhelming loss of persuasiveness in a debate for any reason, the losing side could try to use humor to soften the impression of the impact and seriousness of their own loss in the debate, because, after all, debates of this type are conceived as duels of intellect, not emotionally charged states of mind. Number 3, inductive and deductive reasoning. For the avoidance of doubt, I consider deductive reasoning to be far superior than inductive because it possesses numerous advantages over the inductive approach. Deductive conclusions, regardless of the area of discussion, are simply much more convincing. But, what is inductive reasoning? In inductive reasoning, we go from the specific to the general. We make many observations, discern a pattern, make a generalization, and infer an explanation, or a theory. Even if all of the premises are true in a statement, inductive reasoning allows for the conclusion to be false. Inductive reasoning has its place in the scientific method. Scientists use it to form hypotheses and theories. However, deductive reasoning allows them to apply the theories to specific situations. Therefore, regardless of the personal attitude of the speaker, I conclude that deductive reasoning is more desirable and successful than inductive reasoning, although it should be noted, depending on the circumstances of the debate and the skill of the speaker, it is not out of place to be prepared to combine an inductive and deductive reasoning to achieve overall plausibility of the conclusions within a particular debate, and then, after studied application of these approaches, but also other ones not mentioned here, regardless of the success within a particular debate, an individual can deservedly ruminate in the style of the ancient Achaean general and military leader Philopaemen, and conclude, "My failure, therefore, was not complete."